All right. Now that we're recording, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so I was looking at the news outlets news release for today, and like core retail sales was super bullish, right? It was like forecast like 1%, 2%. Core came out at like 3.3, retail came out at 3.8, which so like with the retail sales, or what this is, like this news release in itself is just a kind of a gauge on the difference in sales, right? So are people actually still going out spending money? So a lot of times with a lot of these news releases, you'll see like the core, and then you'll see just like the normal, like we have retail sales and we have core retail sales, right? So with the core retail sales, typically the core, whatever excludes a certain aspect of that industry. So when it comes to retail sales, we see it measures the change in the total value of sales at the retail level, but it excludes automobiles, right? Just because automotive industry is just so volatile and has a lot of up and downs. It excludes that just to get a clear gauge, and then the normal retail sales includes that automotive industry, and it still came out at 3.8. So I mean, that was kind of crazy in itself to see, just with that news release coming out and not seeing US dollar really take off. Like right, if we look at it, where is it? See, right, actual greater than forecast is good for currency, right? So when we see this number higher, right, it's supposed to boost up the US dollar. And if we take a look, 730 is, I believe, 7. So on this chart, they go off different time zones, not time zones, but different times. And go 1 hour daily. All right, so I think our news release was somewhere in this area, right? And we didn't see, like, compared to this was when I believe the PPI came out. It was either consumer price index or the producer price index. Whatever news release came out, that was this huge move here. And we see, like, relative to that, we had like still normal formation. Like, we didn't see anything crazy. So just taking a look at that, see if we got anything else that came out. Not really. Industrial production, that was positive. Right, so we see we had a lot of positive news, but we also didn't have really any relative positive momentum in the US dollar, especially when we were actually sitting near at this support zone, right? And we're still kind of sitting at this secondary support zone here, which is the higher low point from this formation. And also just, we look back, right? So we see this area here has been used as resistance a bunch of times, tested as support, right? So it looks like it's kind of just testing support again, this non-5.70 zone. But we haven't really seen price really break to the upside or to the downside. Like, we see it broke back within this channel. We look in the 4-hour, right? So we see price kind of broke back within this channel, but has really failed to really give us a clear indication on what it wants to do. I said, like, on a weekly overview, either weekly overview or it's on like Tuesday, I forgot who I was talking to, that I kind of expected price to come down, right? Once we got up here, I wanted to see price come to this level, come back down, retest this as support, right? And kind of give us an indication on whether we want to continue moving bullish or if we're going to fall below, retest this resistance, and continue moving down to the downside. The one thing I didn't fully expect, I was more so expecting that the news to be bullish, right? I was expecting everything to be bullish. And I was expecting that bullish news to kind of push this US dollar up. With it not doing that, kind of currently what I'm looking at is potentially a inverted head and shoulders, right? So if we look, we got left shoulder, head, We see price come back up, come back down, right? That'll be the right shoulder. We can see price continue to potentially move up. But we could also see price just roll over back to the downside. And if so, first area I'll be looking for really is be this non-500 level, and past that'll be this non-400 level. If we look at this non-500 level, we see, like, honestly, since it started creating this channel, since about November, this level has acted as a major level of support, right? So we got a test of support here, test support here, test here, small test here, breakthrough, comes back, kind of tests this area, breaks back above, tests it again, right? We see breaks back below, uses this area. We see for range of time, right? Just kind of testing back and forth, trying to gain enough momentum to break above. We see that break, and now we're seeing price kind of come back into this area. Could see a potential test of this area, right? Moving, and then see price to move upwards, or we could see price break through this area and just continue rolling to the downside. Right now, we're kind of just waiting to see. We check the news. I want to see what kind of other news releases we have for the remainder of the week. So tomorrow, nothing too crazy, right? Just some orange folders, got unemployment claims. Right, measures the number of individuals who filed for unemployment insurance for the first time during the past week. Forecasted 217. We see numbers have been pretty close to forecast, or really right below forecast, right? So we see the last forecast 227,000, and then we see came out 223, right? So right around that area below, a little below, which is always good, right? As we see, actual less than forecast is good for currency, so that was good. We see came out negative again previous to that. And other than that, we just got some FOMC members speaking. Looks like Fed manufacturing index. Just a survey of manufacturers getting the economic, getting kind of an overview of how they're doing economically, how they see things. Let's see what we got for Friday. Friday's pretty clear, no red folders, mostly CAD news, existing home sales. That's always interesting, and just FOMC members speaking, right? So we see for the rest of the week, we pretty much are going to be very technical. We don't really got too much moving on the fundamental side of things, right? So we take a look at let's take a look at GU, right? Let's see, price. What's today's 16th? So price opened up on the 13th. Let's see. Just print out. All right, moving for this week. So if we're looking at price for this week, this past week of trading, see we can take to 1 hour. We honestly been in a really like pretty ranging market. Like we see like this was our last higher moving spread right here. And then we see pretty much been trading within this range since all month, pretty much, yeah, all month. So kind of between this 1.36 and this 1.35 100 level here, right? And predominantly we see, right, last week, price made a bullish run, right? Sets at this 1.360 level as resistance before we start to see price roll back over to the downside, catching support at this 1.35 level here, right? And just looking back at, you know, where these levels even come into play at. Here we can just do it like this, right? Let's see how long it takes us. Currently it's 8:12, so let's see. Taking a look at the weekly, right? We see weekly still been bullish, still been on a bullish run these past few weeks, but not much. So what I'm gonna do is just break this chart down from pretty much how I do it beginning to end, just to kind of show what I'll look for when it comes to breaking down the chart, right? So first thing I'm gonna do is find my major levels of support and resistance. So finding my major levels, so support and resistance, and typically want to do closest to this week candle. So starting here, I just like to start off a little further back, just gives me a better view just with how I look at things, looking at the bigger picture of everything. All right. So what I do is I like to find my whole numbers or quarter point levels, right? So looking for how we see 1.5000, right? Numbers and then those double zeros or 50, like we break it down a little closer, right? So we see 39500, right? These levels here, those are, you'll see price identifies with these levels, right? Just looking at it here, you see price identifies with these levels pretty well. And you'll see a lot of rejection or hesitation when it gets near these key price levels, right? So now I got my weekly zones. I'll just break it down to the daily. First thing you kind of want to do is identify what is your trend, right? So where is price? What's your overall trend? So your overall trend is going to be more so your trend that you're looking at on your daily or your weekly. And then you're going to kind of be looking for what's your current trend, right? So what is price been doing the last few hours? So this is going to be where you're looking at your 1 hour or your 4 hour, or even lower to like maybe your 15 minutes, things like that. Overall, just kind of dependent on what is your predominant trading style, right? Are you trading intraday? Are you trading just for looking to get in trades for a few hours, maybe a day or two? Are you scalp trading to where like you're just looking to get in trades really quick? You're in trades, out of trades within a few hours, or you swing trading where you're holding these trades for a couple weeks, couple months, just depending on the whole layout of your trading plan, right? So me personally, I'm more of an intraday trader. So typically my trades, I'm not holding more than 3 days. So I use the daily or the weekly is kind of like my anchor time frame for me to really anchor down, see what areas, what price zones I'm really looking for price to test. Right. So once I identify that, right, looking at the daily, just getting a closer look to what's been going on, right? So we see identifying the trend. We see price came up. I know this resistance came up, met this resistance level. Now we're seeing lower low, lower high, right? Another lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, right? So I'm seeing prices in the downtrend, right? So price is moving downwards, right? So once I understand that, the first major thing is I'm going to predominantly be looking for sales, right? For the simple fact, you want to typically trade with the trend, especially getting started. You want to trade with the trend. That's going to be your easiest way of not getting bit on a lot of trades, just understanding where price is and not trying to fight against price, right? So if price is showing you, hey, I'm in a downtrend, hey, my overall movement is bearish, then we wouldn't really just try to jump in, oh, let me catch a buy, right? Because that's not really, unless you're skilled enough and you made it to that point where you can counter trend or where you can trade both these trends on both sides, then that make more sense. But as soon as you get to that level, right, trying to do that is really just trying to put too much dip on your chip, right? So since we're identifying price in the downtrend, right, now we're identifying, okay, what are my nearest key levels, right? Where are my close price zones, things like that. So we're going to just continue to find our support and resistance zone. One thing you can do is just plot a horizontal line, right? And you're looking for where you're seeing price test an area multiple times, right? So I'm looking here, I'm seeing, okay, we got test this resistance, right? Comes down, test support, resistance, support, right? So I'm looking at this area as a major area of price, right? So I'm looking, let's see. right? Yeah, it's looking good, right? Just looking over, make sure where we're plotting this line is kind of fitting what price is doing, right? So looking along the line, making sure, okay, we're seeing this level's acting perfectly, right? So just zoom that out. So we have that there. Looking for any other major levels. Like the longer you do this, the easier your eye gets trained to certain things, right? So looking here, I see this area acted as the price of resistance. Once it broke above, retest this area as support, right? Retest again as support. Once it broke below, we see tested a couple times as resistance, right? So we're identifying that as a key area that price is struggling at, as well as, let's see, brightness area. All right, so same thing, looking for where we're seeing these price rejections. Rejects, in there, this area rejects, using this reject to upside support, just looking to see where these areas are at, right? Reset and just make sure everything fits. Let's see. To just actually just okay, all right. Just gonna take my box. I'm gonna make sure this box is fitting price, right? So the main thing you want to do is make sure within these boxes, these zones that we're drawing, we want to make sure we're capturing what price is actually doing. I can actually move this zone up a bit if I want. But I think I'm gonna keep it there, especially because we got this here, but I will draw this out just so I understand we do have another higher level of resistance there. Okay, well, that's cool there. I always like to make it easy on myself. Just let myself know what these zones are, right? We make it super simple that way. When we're looking at, we already know, like, boom. And you can do things like, when it comes to this, you can title this like weekly resistance. You can really break it down, make it comfortable to the level that you see fit, the level that really fits with you. So for me, sometimes I just mainly just put what level it is, but like for this level, we can put weekly resistance, right? For down here, we can put our weekly support level, because we know that's what this level is, right? It's our weekly support. So that it just makes it ultimately easier to identify the amount of strength these levels have, or these levels play on price. And we're just marking up our smaller levels here. All right. Keep things super simple, right? Predominantly, what I like to do, honestly, is just really trading price between the zones, right? Froze. Yeah. Making sure everything fits. Drawing up our last one. Actually, I could really. That level works perfectly for here. That fits. All right. So, 3, 8. That's 3, 4. 4. All right, boom. Right. So now that we got our levels identified, right? Now we can clearly just see looking at it now, we're able to see where price is doing and what price is doing, right? So we just look how these levels that we're finding, how these levels play out just from the beginning to the end, right? So just taking a look at the beginning, we see price comes down, boom, find support at 1.30, boom, comes up to 134, comes down, catch support at 122, and we see, boom, hits this level, comes down, hits this level, comes up, hits near this level, comes back down, hit, right? So we're seeing just how we're trading within these zones, right? We're just trading how price is navigating, right? As it navigates along, right? These same levels that were respected here are respected here, right? So now we're going to take a closer look to see, okay, now that we identified that, now we're able to see what is price doing on the smaller time frames, right? 4 hours. Did all my boxes go away? Oh yeah. I should remember to set them up where they can be seen on the hour. I'll just see those 3 levels. All right, boom. So looking at the 4 hour now, we can see where prices, the 2 major levels prices have been trading within, right? And now we're just identifying our smaller levels within here, within where price is currently trading on these small levels. So we see 3.5. All right. Trading here. We see about 40. All right, so we see prices trading within this range. Right, so even with this alone, right, you could be able to see how many pips is this. This 114 pips, right? So even if you were just to trade this range of this back and forth, this boom, this bounce, right, these touches, you would still be able to capture about 100 pips, you know what I'm saying, each direction within a range of market. So with this, right, so purely just off our technical analysis, we've identified what price is currently doing, right? Price is currently in an overall downtrend, right? And we see our overall trend is going to be bearish, and our current trend really is a range in market, right? So we're not really creating any higher highs, we're not really creating any lower lows. We're kind of just ranging within a certain support and a certain resistance level. Kind of trying to find out, you know, what price wants to do, trying to wait and see if we get a break to the upside, you know, a test, reach higher highs. I forgot this one goes like that. Right, so trying to really see if price wants to break above, retest this area, this resistance area as support, and then break to this new high, or we want to see if price wants to break below, retest this area of support as resistance, and then break and below to retest this area, right? So currently we're currently just kind of sitting on our hands, seeing what we're waiting on, right? Especially when you have things like US dollars kind of being really stagnant, right? Not giving us a lot of movement. And then you have the British pound, which is kind of being stagnant, not giving us a lot of movement, right? So we see both these, both the base and quote currency of this pair are both ranging themselves, which is overall going to have an underlying effect on the asset of GU, causing it to just range and not really give us a clear indication on which direction wants to break up or which direction it really wants to break and go to, right? So really kind of what we be looking at, if we were looking to trade this, what day is it, Wednesday? So we're looking to trade this, we kind of be looking for really just trading between these bounces until we got to break up. So just looking, setting an alert, right? Seeing how price is moving once price slowly starts to creep up here, right? Seeing if we want to enter sales, given the right price action, right? If price is showing us it is decreasing in strength as it approaches this resistance, or if we're seeing any type of candlestick formation like an evening star formation, shooting star, bearish engulfing, any type of those major candlestick formations like that that would give us that bearish indication, then we're looking for that sell back to downside. Other than that, we're kind of just waiting on our hands and either waiting for a break to the upside and waiting for that retest, right? And getting in, not as it breaks, but as it retests this zone, right? So we're getting it at the best possible point and then letting price continue to do what it do, or we're just getting in on the sales here, right? And trading this back down and kind of just securing any profits on the way. We don't have any major, I don't believe we had any red folders for British pound either. Yeah. So day tomorrow's all yellow, all orange, right? So nothing too major there. So that's how we would do that, right? We're seeing just really prices really not giving us anything truly significant in the realms of a clear indication of where we want to go, right? So we will break that down, and that's kind of how that will look. Did you have like any questions on anything I did there?
No, you're good. I'm just following along.
All right, yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I want to make sure, you know what I'm saying, everything's making sense, everything's clear. So, you know, if you got any questions, anything like that, man, you know what I'm saying, just feel free to let me know, man.
Yeah, it's all. I mean, it's all really just piecing together and making sense. So I'm just listening.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I like to keep it really simple. Like really all I'm really doing, right, is I'm finding my major levels of support, my major levels of resistance, right? I'm identifying what's my overall trend, my current trend, and then I'm trading price action, right? So I'm really just trading what price is doing, what price is giving me at that moment. Um, I don't really use too many indicators. That's not really too needed. So, and I'm just really trading zone to zone. Like right now, even within this, I would either, my first thing would be either trading to this major zone or this one, right? And then first thing is looking for a break out of this consolidation zone, this consolidation box that we're in, to see what price wants to really give us. So I mean that's really the key, man. You wanna figure out what works for you, and you want to figure out what way can you keep what works for you super simple, right? So
Right.
as long as I feel like that's where things get complicated. When you try to make it too complex, you try to do too much. If you try to just keep it literally just keep it super simple, right? um it makes it easier to understand where you're possibly going wrong when you're looking back at trades, because everything's simple. It's not like you looked at 100 different things to make you enter this trade. If you're looking at 4 things, it becomes real simple to see when one of those things isn't a clear indication of um, confluence with the trade that you're getting in, right? It becomes easier to see like if one thing is making you lose these trades more than another. If you're entering in off, like, you know what I'm saying, if you're just taking a journal, right? And every time you enter in the trade, you're just writing down, okay, what do I see in price? What made me enter price, right? Was it because I saw price at a certain support zone, certain resistance? Is because I saw price giving us a certain pattern, like a double top, double bottom, head and shoulders, inverted head and shoulders, any type of flag pattern? Or am I entering off candlestick formations like evening stars, morning stars, hammers, dojis, anything like that, right? So once you start, if you see any errors in your trading, it becomes easier to identify it when you understand why you're getting into the trade in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'll say keeping a trading journal is really important, right? Just being able to look back, you know what I'm saying, not even just on your losses, right, but even on your wins, right? Just being able to look back and identify, okay, what is it that I'm doing that is working for me, or what is it that I'm doing that isn't working for me. Um, so man, I really do suggest that, like, if you do got a spare journal, or, you know what I'm saying, just grabbing a journal and just marking up, like, all right, why am I getting in these trades? You know, what is the things I'm looking for? And just understanding, making anything you can do to make how you trade super, 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 super simple, right? Like,
Right.
literally, the more simple you make it, the easier it is, man. Like, literally just making it simple. Like, let's take a look at, let's say EU, right? I think we looked at this, right? So take a look at EU, and we see it's literally pretty much the same thing of just a few major zones, right? So just, we erase all this. First thing, right, is kind of just going to our weekly, identifying our major zones, seeing where prices really taking a hit at, right? I think I can probably move this. Just, you know, trying to identify these major areas of price.
What do you think? Thank you.
Damn, I really say for this one, I'd really say those three levels really be all we need when it comes to the weekly. Even on a daily, like, yeah, man, those songs is, I'll say, probably can pause on here. All right, so pause on there. Finally, zone up here. No zone up there. All right. All right. So just looking at Euro USD, looking at how prices moving, just taking a look at the weekly. We see prices been moving pretty much bearish, right? So we see prices pretty much all of 2021. You know, pretty much all of 2020, we see bearish formation. We had a double top here, right? First top, second top, price rolls over. Just continue to roll over to the downside. It's kind of catching support here at this level. It's 1.12 level here. 100, which was a previous higher low, right? So you'll see that price create higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low before it create this double top. So price is kind of catching support at this initial level where it caught support at this higher low level, right? So we see boom, caught support here, and we see that price, and it just goes to show you, right, like how these previous price zones really play a factor. Like, just in knowing this zone here, you would have been able to see where was a good price point for take profit, right? If you were to get in a trade here, right, and you're saying, okay, I see price off this bearish engulf, and I see price wanting to continue to fall down, you can say, just off that, we can capture this whole move, have a perfect take profit level, just because we understand where price has been. So now we can understand where price is going. So just looking at that, and like looking at the daily, right, we can kind of see price here has been in the range of market itself, right? Not really ranging too much, at least on a daily. even on a 4 hour, like we see really, we've been really range within these two levels, not really making any higher highs, higher lows. We see this whole area here was pretty much just one big consolidation box with price ranging. So within it ranging, it was ranging within its range, right? We saw a breakout. Price came up to this level of 1.14600, met resistance, rolled over to the downside. It did break below our 1.12100 level, but called support at our 1.11500 level before coming back up, bouncing again, right? So like with this, when it comes to this, I'm seeing this double top here, right? This first top, second top, this being a neckline. So what I will be kind of looking for price, if I was looking to trade this, first thing I will be looking for is I want to see price. What you'll see, especially on double tops, is on these necklines, you'll see price want to come up and retest this level before rolling back down to the downside, right? So, and that's kind of what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing price want to potentially come up, retest this level, and then potentially continue to fall down to the downside, especially since I am still bullish on DXY currently, at least until I can see a break below this level here. As long as I'm concerned, like I'm seeing price come to this level, but I'm seeing price being very hesitant on if it wants to break through, especially with the way news has been. But I do think it is kind of possible that we might just see price continue to roll over to downside for the remainder of this week, and then catch support at or near this 95500 level, and then maybe start to move bullish. But I'm not really marrying a bias. I'm just looking to see what it as it moves. I'll trade what it's doing as it moves. But you always do want to kind of have a speculation or kind of guess on what's going to move the price forward. So just looking at that, right? Since we are kind of seeing price move bearish on DXY, that would give us reason to believe that price would still continue to push bullish on the Euro USD, right? Since we're seeing US dollar lose strength, right? That's just automatically going to kind of make the Euro kind of push up in correlation to how it's moving. So we could possibly see that remainder push up for these next 2 days, and maybe even push a little bit higher, and then we could either be looking to see price come up to this 1.146 level to test again as resistance, or we could be looking for price to just come at or near this level here before rolling back over to the downside if we do start to see DXY catch support and start to move bullish. Right, and that's kind of how we'll trade this. I don't really trade. I'd never really trade Euro USD. I'm trying to gotta like get more into it again, just because of the way it moves. It's a really good pair to really start a basis off of, especially when it comes to like just teaching others trading. Like Euro USD is a very solid pair to just really gain your feet in the water when it comes to trading, right? As far as market structure, identifying patterns, things like that. Its confluence with the US dollar is very nice. So it's also one of the most liquid pairs in Forex market. I'm pretty sure it's actually the most traded pair in Forex. The foreign exchange market is Euro USD. So that always makes it super, super liquid. You can catch pretty nice pip moves. It's not the fastest pair, so we see like this like 160 pip move on a 4 hour. Like 4 or 5, 6 days or whatever. So looking at that's how I would kind of be looking to trade that. Nothing too crazy. Bitcoin is moving, however. Have you looked into cryptocurrencies, like either trading or just like investing in them long-term basis?
I mean, not necessarily like investing in them. I have like just watched the movement of them, like just because everything is going digital, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be that's gonna be uh, the basically the way we use money in the near future. So obviously, I've been keeping an eye on it, but I feel like there's going to be another time to like invest because when before Bitcoin was big, everybody was like, this shit's not about to take off, and then you see it's worth like $43,000 per Bitcoin now.
Yeah.
So I've definitely been keeping my eye on it to try to get in for another one of those big inclines and just trying to see if we're going to have another surge in people investing in it and if it's going to reach the levels like it was before it was super big, which I don't think it is, just because, like I said, that's the future of money. But yeah. So long story short, I have looked into it. I've never invested in it though.
Man, one thing I always like to say is I am not a financial consultant and I do
Right.
not give financial advice. This is just what I do. But just with seeing how everything is going, how everything's becoming so digital, looking at different things like that, I do kind of recommend that people do kind of diversify their portfolio with having cryptocurrencies. You can, start up the big dogs, getting some Bitcoin, Ethereum. Because for me personally, I do believe cryptocurrencies aren't going anywhere, especially if they do end up getting what is the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word. Monetized, right? If they do kind of get like a fundamental way to really monitor these financial exchanges, right? These cryptocurrencies, right? You could really see an influx and a boom in these cryptos more than you have now. So we're seeing like the explosion of so many different cryptos, like crypto.com, Solana, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Ethereum, XRP, right? So you not only have your major ones, but you have your lower named ones that are also giving you like these great rates of return, and also just kind of helping you place your money in a certain place. So like with Bitcoin in itself, personally, I kind of do believe that at least between this year, I do believe that it possibly does want to come back and retest these levels. One major thing that I will say when looking, I'm gonna be completely honest, when looking at Bitcoin, one thing that kind of makes me nervous is this formation here, right? Left shoulder, head, right shoulder, fall, right? So I'm kind of seeing if we do start to see price come up and kind of reject at the 60,000 level, right? I am kind of predicting we may see price fall for quite a bit of time, maybe until this 20,000 area, just from the formation of this head and shoulders pattern, right? And it's not even, and like seeing this on a weekly, right, is kind of a big alarm, but also you can also see it kind of here on a daily with this left shoulder, head comes down, right shoulder falls back, right? And there was like another head and shoulders pattern, like somewhere, I think like on a 4 hour or something crazy. It just really makes you kind of pause a little bit. So I am very cautious, but I do believe, if the horse is still racing, I'm not gonna kick it over. You know what I mean? Like the train's still going. Hey, you know what I'm saying? If the train's still going, I'm not gonna try to stop the train. I'm gonna let the train go, and once the train stops, it stops. But like just in the sense of trading Bitcoin, it's fundamentals. I think when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies, excuse me. When it comes to trading cryptocurrencies, I do believe though it is more more based on technicals because you don't really there's no financial reports, there's no really major reports. They do react to certain political news like world news, like corona. Like we had a big push in cryptocurrencies because of corona, because of the stock market was doing so bad, right? So a lot of people were getting taking money out of their stocks, putting in cryptocurrencies, and that's what kind of caused us to see that major boom. And not only cryptocurrencies but like tech companies in 2020 2021. And now we're kind of seeing a change in that, right? So just because we talked about that, what percent, 8%. I should probably plug this up. So if we take a look at, oh, there's my warning. Let's see, 1 second, plug in the laptop here. Cool. So we look at US 30, right, which are Dow Jones 30. We see recently we have really been in a downtrend, right? Excuse me. Our stock market has really struggled since really the beginning of 2020, 2022. Literally very start of the year, we start instantly just rolling over to the downside. We had a few days or about a week or two that we had some very bullish intent, but we saw price kind of catch at this resistance level and roll back over to the downside. If we look at tech, right, tech heavy NAS, we're seeing NASDAQ is literally shredding most of its gains from 2021. So let's see. So we look at 2021 year. So we see NASDAQ is already shredded half, if not 75% of what it gained through the entire duration of 2021 in the first 2-3 months. In the first 2 months of 2022, we've seen it shred nearly 75% of its gains from a whole year away, right? And I do believe we have potential to kind of keep coming down when it comes to our stocks because we are seeing a difference in valuation, right? So 2020, 2021, it was all about tech. Everybody wants tech. All the tech companies are booming. As we start to see unemployment rate go down, we're starting to see more people get back in the economy. The economy slowly start to reopen. We're seeing the impact of inflation, right? That was one of the main things. Like you see me talking on my story, like inflation right now is crazy. Is at literally the highest level. This core inflation rate, right? If we look at just the last 25 years, we see we average between 2 to 3%. We're at 6%. We're really at 7% with the core inflation rate, right? And like even past that, we see inflation hasn't been this high since like early 90s, like literally 1990. So in pretty much 30 years, in the last 25 years especially, we haven't, like, no one in our age group has ever seen prices be this high. You're seeing like it really doesn't right now, like reading the articles, if you keeping up with Jerome Powell, keeping up with our economics, we see inflation has no true intent on coming down immediately, right? So what the Federal Reserve is doing right now is we're raising our federal funds rate, which is the rate at which banks charge each other to borrow money overnight. We're raising these federal funds rate to combat this high inflation, right? And our first rate hike could come in March, right? So our first rate hike will come to, I think our exchange rate right now is like 0, or our federal funds rate is like 0.25. So I think they want to raise it 6 times in the coming year, right, to help battle inflation. Because of how bad inflation has got, they have to bring inflation down. And I'm pretty sure if we were to pull up Market Watch right now, there's probably like an article about Jerome Powell trying to tackle inflation, who knows, right? But just seeing that's what is causing, especially also in the little problem with Russia and Ukraine, with Russia potentially invading Ukraine, bringing tensions on the U.S. stock market, because the U.S. will get involved if they do invade. So with there's a lot of factors right now that's kind of just not just weighing on stock markets, right, but also weighing on economies as well, right? We look at U.S. dollar, Great British pound, the euro, right? A lot of these economies, Japanese yen, have been beaten up so bad by Corona economically that you're seeing a lot of struggles now that we're getting out of this, I'm saying, hoorah phase of kind of coming through it, getting people back into work, really getting over the main wave of this coronavirus. We're seeing really the bigger impacts that it's having, like stock markets around the entire world, right? This is German 30, right? So Germany's stock market 30, top 30. Right. So we're seeing a lot of these countries had these heavy dips, right, followed by these super massively quick run-ups. And it's kind of causing like inflation, supply chain bubbles, supply chain bottlenecks, a lot of things to kind of bubble over, and just have an impact on things like not even just cryptocurrencies, but just economics as a whole, right? So, I mean, it just leaves a lot for us to think about, like us trading in this market. We have to be aware of that. Have to be aware of not only technicals of a chart, the fundamentals that go behind it, what else is going on in the world, any wars, any things like that, because a lot of these play major impacts on things, right? So I said all that to say, there's just a lot of things that as traders we got to make sure that we're aware of. Yeah. And besides that, man, that was really all I wanted to go over today, talk about. Like I said, man, I'll leave you the floor to ask any questions, anything like that, if you had any before we ended the call here.
I really can't think of any off the top of my head. I was really just following along, and this has all been like kind of a refresher. There's been a lot of new stuff too. Like you mentioned a lot of new stuff as far as like setting up the weekly chart before you look at the daily and the hourly. Like there's be a lot of times where I was taking trades and I would just jump straight into the hourly chart without setting up my support and resistance zones for the whole week, which is really going to tell you whether or not those hourlies are going to work out. And that's kind of what I'm seeing now. But yeah, man, it was very helpful though. Everything you brought, and all the links you posted on Discord and everything's been super helpful. So,
man, yeah, that Discord, man, yeah. I'll start to make the videos and everything, but like everything for the basic course is already uploaded, like the quizzes, the presentations, everything. I uploaded. I don't know if you know, but I uploaded. Started uploading the candlestick patterns, chart patterns, things like that. Those presentation and quizzes here. I'm gonna be making the videos. You know what I'm saying? In the videos, we'll I probably should make sure it was still sharing. But like I was saying, bro, like, you know what I'm saying, everything on the basic course is here. With the beginners course, I added some more stuff. And with the videos, I'll be breaking these down deeper, going straight into TradingView. Just taking a look at these, identifying some of these patterns, identifying the support and resistance, you know what I'm saying, in real time on the charts. So, be on the lookout for that, man. You know what I'm saying? Continue to go through this, because the course right here is really going to be the main thing that's really helping you on the daily. Like, even if you're just taking like a few of the quizzes, you know what I'm saying? Keeping that information fresh, especially when it comes to things like in the beginner's course, like identifying like certain chart patterns or certain candlestick formations, things like that. I think I dropped something helpful info, right? So yeah, just studying these things, right? Understanding where price is going to go from these points, how price can move from these points, different things, different aspects of it like that.
Yeah, it's real quick. My bad. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was
No,
just looking at that chart, and there was a bullish rectangle. I forget on which chart. I gotta look at the charts again, but it was right after I looked at that, and I was like, oh wow, this is real shit. Basically, is what I was trying to say.
yeah, right. So especially, right, you know what I'm saying, just continuation patterns, reverse pattern. Knowing these, right, it makes everything, that's what makes a lot of this super simple, right? That's what makes you, when you're trading off price action, nothing is absolute, right? We always got to remember that anything can happen, but when you know the odds, right, when you know the odds of probability, when you have the odds shaped in your favor, it makes it a lot easier, right? So instead of like when you're able to identify like a falling wedge, right, it makes entering that trade for a buy make a lot more sense when you correlate it with other confluences that go with why you're looking at that buy, right? But if you're seeing 3, 4 different other things right on top of that falling wedge, then it will make entering that trade for a falling wedge a lot less stressful, give you a lot less anxiety, and then also just gives you the understanding of if it does go the wrong way, anything could have happened and you had the confluences that best fit your trading style, right? If it goes the wrong way now, that gives you the opportunity to go back and look at it and see if you saw something wrong. Sometimes trade just go the other way, right? You know what I'm saying? When it comes to us, we're on a smaller level when it comes to trading, right? We're on the retail, we're the bottom of the totem pole. Banks are able to trade billions of dollars in this, you know what I'm saying? The same way we trade our couple hundred, couple thousand, right? So their one trade can have a huge impact on how price is moving. They will essentially do certain things to move price a certain direction, right?
Right.
You know, banks, big banks, central banks, you know what I'm saying, governments, they all play a part in this, right? So it's about just understanding you want to gain as many confluences and gain as much knowledge about price action and how price can potentially move in its market structure and identifying its trend under your belt. You want to use that and really just be able to look at it. Because the more you learn about this, bro, I promise you, bro, the more when you look at charts, bro, it's just going to look so easy. And even when you get into a trade, it becomes it becomes easier to not second guess yourself, right? To enter a trade, feel confident when you enter a trade. And even if that trade doesn't go your way, you're still confident that you were seeing what you see, but you're still able to reflect on it to see if you saw the wrong thing, or you know what I'm saying, certain things you didn't see, but you're also in the same mindset, understanding that, hey, I got in this trade because of these reasons that fit my trading plan, and I'm not upset if it didn't go my way.
Right.
All right. So yeah, man, continue to study that up, man. I think man, I think you're gonna make a hell of a trader.
Hey, I'm excited, bro, because I'm finally as long as I've been doing this shit, bro, it's finally starting to make a little bit more sense. As far as just reading price, because that's always been my weak point. I've been able to. It's been easy to kind of like trade gaps and stuff like that because you see a gap, you trade it. But I want to be able to get on the chart immediately, kind of start getting my plan together, which I feel like I could do that now, and I'm just gaining more confidence is the main thing. So yeah, bro, it's about to get crazy here in the next couple months.
Yeah, man, it's really gonna be crazy, man. Can't wait to see your growth, man. Not just you, man. Everybody else, man. Everybody's gonna be watching this, and everybody in the group, man. I can't wait to see how everybody just explodes, man, to new heights, man. I can't wait, man. That's what it's all about. And that support system, man. So anything you ever need, man, you always come to the group, come to me, man. We always got to make sure if nobody looks out for each other, we look out for each other, man.
Right.
So, man, with that, man, I'm gonna go ahead and call this a class, man. I think this is a good class.